Hey David, and welcome to a very brief history of games. The first games began in ancient Israel under the reign of King David in about 1000 BCE. Looking for a way to spend some free time with his trusted advisors, he made a game of dice similar to Yahtzee. His advisors, fearing if King David lost they would end up like Goliath, instigated the most important rule of the time. King David always wins. This tradition has been passed down through the ages, though it morphed into somewhat of an idiomatic expression, which is why if you're playing with someone named David, he might just state this rule at the start of gameplay, saying, King David always wins, or the abbreviated form, David always wins. Alternatively, it could be that the David you're playing with has no idea of this tradition and is simply good at games. From their regal beginnings, games quickly spread throughout the rest of the Middle East and into Europe, where many people were inspired to create games of their own. Roulette was invented in France and then exported to countries as far away as Russia, where they made up their own unique rules. Checkers was invented in the Czech Republic, and Chinese checkers was, of course, invented in Germany. But it was in Sicily where a group of farmers created arguably one of the greatest games of all time. You guessed it, Go Fish. Created in around 200 CE and originally called Peschiamo. Although the name of the game has undergone a few changes due to translation, the core gameplay has remained much untouched for nearly 2,000 years, with one minor exception: the punishment, from which the name of the game is actually derived. The purpose of the game is, of course, to be the player who collects the most sets of cards of the same rank. To do this, one asks the other players if they have any cards of a particular rank, of which the asking player must have at least one. When one asks for cards of a certain rank, and the asked player has no cards of that rank, the asking player is then told to go fish. Now here is where the modern rules deviate from the original ones. In modern Go Fish, the player must simply draw a card from the top of the draw pile, the action supposedly reminiscent of casting a line into the water. In Peschiamo, however, when a player was told to go fish, he or she had to eat some fish before being able to draw a card from the draw pile. The other players would then chant, Peschiamo, 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 let's fish, let's fish, let's fish, as the punished player plugged his or her nose and dug in. This might sound funny to modern ears, but ancient peoples thought fish to be vile creatures, whose stench, taste, and texture were a thing of nightmares. Yeah, that sounds about right. In fact, it was Go Fish that got humans used to the idea of putting fish, an animal that looks and smells like something that belongs in a dumpster, into their mouths. The losers becoming especially immune to the nasty flavor. These early games inspired many other countries to also create new games. Chess, for example, was invented by Spanish monks in the 5th century CE when they ran out of books to read, and it was originally played with rocks.
¿Por qué tenemos un tablero de ajedrez tan sofisticado si aún estamos jugando con piedras?
No sé.